Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Today, I'm taking you on a psychological journey through two families, two completely different worlds that shape human beings in fundamentally opposite ways. One built on respect, love, and healthy attachment. The other, a house of shadows where narcissism and alcoholism create lifelong trauma. This isn't just theory. This is about understanding why some people thrive while others spend decades just trying to survive. Why your childhood isn't just your past. It's the foundation of everything you become. Let's begin. Picture the Kowalski family, morning in their kitchen. 8-year-old Sophie tells her parents about a dream where she was flying, but felt scared of falling. Here's what matters. Her father, Mark, puts down his newspaper and actually listens. He asks about her feelings. Her mother, Anna, validates the fear, reminds Sophie of learning to ride a bike, how scary it was, how she overcame it. Mark says something profound. Fear isn't your enemy. It's a friend telling you, pay attention, but we can't let it paralyze us. This is what John Bowlby called secure attachment. The child's inner world is seen, acknowledged, valued. This simple act of truly listening builds the foundation of healthy self-esteem for life. Fast forward to evening. Sophie comes home crying. She got a D on her math test. She's convinced she's stupid. Watch what happens. Anna sits beside her, doesn't immediately try to fix it, just asks, "Do you want to talk?" Mark kneels down. "Sophie, one grade doesn't define you. You're not stupid, you're learning. Learning means making mistakes. They don't punish. Don't compare her to others. Don't make her worth dependent on performance. Instead, they offer to help her practice, calmly, patiently." The message Sophie internalizes: I am loved for who I am, not what I achieve. Mistakes are opportunities, not proof of worthlessness. Research shows this creates what psychologists call growth mindset, the belief that abilities can be developed through effort. Children who internalize this outperform their peers long term, not because they're smarter, but because they're not paralyzed by fear of failure. Saturday morning. 12-year-old Jacob is playing video games. Mark reminds him, "Homework first?" Jacob gets irritated, raises his voice about unfair rules. In a dysfunctional family, this escalates into warfare, but Mark stays calm. "I understand you're frustrated. Let's talk like adults. What exactly bothers you?" Jacob admits he feels misunderstood, pressured to be perfect. Mark is surprised. He didn't know his son felt this way. So they sit on the floor together, equals, and actually talk. They negotiate a compromise. Jacob apologizes for yelling. Mark apologizes for not checking in sooner. The lesson? Conflict isn't war. It's an opportunity for understanding. The child learns his emotions matter. He can express anger without being rejected. That relationships survive disagreement. This shapes every relationship he'll ever have that night. Anna and Mark talk in bed. Anna worries, "Did we handle Sophie's grade okay?" She opens up about her own childhood. Harsh reactions to anything below an A, feeling inadequate. "I don't want our children to feel that way." Mark responds, "And that's why you're a great mother. You learned from your own wounds and chose not to pass them on. This is crucial. These parents aren't perfect. They carry wounds, but they're conscious of them. They actively work not to project their pain onto their children." Jung called this individuation, becoming whole by integrating our shadows rather than projecting them onto others. Alice Miller wrote, "The best gift parents can give their children is their own integrity." Not perfection? Integrity. Let me summarize what we've seen. The child is heard and seen as unique. Mistakes are learning opportunities. Emotions are validated, not suppressed. Conflicts resolved through dialogue. Love is unconditional. Parents model the behavior they want. difficult topics discussed with honesty, Jacob and Sophie grow up able to discover their authentic selves. They don't need masks, they can be vulnerable. They can fail without losing love. This creates neurological changes. MRI studies show children from secure homes have better developed prefrontal cortex, the region for emotional regulation, decision making, empathy. Their stress response systems are calibrated normally. They enter adulthood with a foundation of trust and safety. Research shows they perform better academically, form healthier relationships, have significantly lower rates of mental illness, and achieve greater career success. Not because they're more talented, because they're not spending energy just trying to survive. Now let me show you the other world, the Nowak family. Same morning hour, but this kitchen is darker. Dishes pile up. The air is thick with tension. Christopher, the father, sits at the table, bloodshot eyes. Smell of alcohol from last night. Maria, the mother, moves nervously. Their 9-year-old daughter, Eva, and 13-year-old son, Thomas, sit frozen, eating in silence. Everyone's waiting for the explosion. It always comes. Christopher slams the table. "Where the hell is my coffee?" Maria jumps, hands shaking. "I'm sorry, honey. I didn't know you were awake. 20 years and you don't know I get up at 7? You're completely useless." The children don't look up. They've learned to become invisible. In Jungian terms, they've developed the false self, a protective mask hiding true feelings to survive. Christopher turns to them. "I look at your grades, all C's. Losers. You're probably not even mine." Here's the pathology. Maria immediately defends him, not the children. "Chris, honey, you're joking. Kids, dad's tired from work, that's all." Christopher continues, "Ungrateful brats. Those grades better improve or else." The threat hangs in the air. Notice the dynamics. Father insults, humiliates, threatens. Mother leaps to his defense, not to protect the children, but the aggressor. She makes excuses. He's tired, he's joking. The children receive a devastating message. Your pain doesn't matter. The abuser's comfort is more important. You are the problem. This is what psychologists call role reversal. The child becomes responsible for the adult's emotions. Thomas and Ava internalize, "It's my fault, I'm bad, I deserve this." This is the foundation of complex trauma. At school, Eva can't concentrate. The teacher asks her a question 3 times. She doesn't hear, she's dissociating, a defense mechanism where the mind escapes unbearable reality. "Ava, what's 7 times 8? Panic floods her face. I don't know." The class laughs. Here's what's happening neurologically. Ava lives in constant hypervigilance. Her nervous system is stuck in fight or flight. Neuroscientists call this toxic stress, chronic activation that literally rewires the developing brain. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for focus and learning, is compromised. The amygdala, the fear center, is hyperactive. Eva can't concentrate, not because she's stupid, but because her brain is constantly scanning for threats. At home, the threat is real. At school, though physically safe, her nervous system can't tell the difference. This leads to academic failure, social withdrawal, and the belief, "I'm defective." That belief will haunt her for decades. Evening, Christopher sits drunk in front of the TV with a vodka bottle. Thomas tries to sneak past. "Thomas, come here." Thomas freezes, approaches. "The principal said you didn't do your physics homework. Is that true?" "I forgot, Dad. I'm sorry." Christopher explodes. "You forgot? Ungrateful piece of shit. I bleed for you, and you can't do one assignment?" Maria rushes in. "Chris, honey, calm down." Christopher turns on her. "Don't tell me what to do. This is your fault. You baby him." Then Maria does the cruelest thing. She turns to Thomas. "See what you did? How can you upset your father like this? He works all day. Shame on you." Christopher shoves Thomas. "You're worthless. Better shape up or I'm throwing you out." Thomas flees to his room crying. This is the core pathology. The narcissistic alcoholic father humiliates his son. The mother, instead of protecting, blames the victim. You're the problem. You upset your father. It's your fault. Thomas internalizes, I'm bad. I deserve punishment. Gabor Mate explains, the child can't survive without attachment. So if the parent is unsafe, the child must believe I am bad rather than my parent is bad. It's psychological survival, but it destroys the soul. That night, Eva sneaks into Thomas's room. They lie in the dark, holding hands. Eva whispers, if I studied better, maybe Dad wouldn't be so angry. Thomas, only 13, tries to protect his sister. This isn't your fault. It's not mine. Dad is just, that's how Dad is. But Mom says we make him nervous. These children have become adults too soon. A 9-year-old thinks she causes her father's abuse. A 13-year-old carries responsibility for his sister's psychological survival. Jung would call this premature individuation, forced into adulthood before the psyche is ready. The cost is enormous. Later, Maria sits on the bed. Christopher snores, reeking of alcohol. She whispers, maybe tomorrow will be better. Maybe he'll stop drinking. She covers him with a blanket, strokes his head. I love you, Chris. I know you're good. It's just the alcohol. Maria lives in delusion, what psychologists call denial. She tells herself it's not him, it's the alcohol. But alcohol doesn't create violence. It reveals it. The contempt and cruelty were always there. The bottle just removes the mask. Maria, herself a victim, is simultaneously a perpetrator. By defending her husband, she enables continued abuse, but she's trapped by fear, economic dependence, and the internalized message that family must stay together at all costs. This is the hell of codependency. Thomas is now 23. He escaped to university in another city. But did he really escape? He sits in his dark dorm room. Empty beer bottles on the desk, dating apps open on his computer. He types nothing. Paralyzed by fear of rejection, his phone rings. Mom on the screen. He stares at it, finally answers Maria's tearful voice. Thomas, you need to come home. Dad's drinking again. We need you. Mom, I've told you 100 times. I can't keep fixing everything I have exams, my own life. Family comes first. How can you abandon us? Thomas's frustration explodes. Dad isn't sick, Mom. He's an alcoholic and a narcissist, and you keep defending him. How dare you, after everything he did for you? Without him, I wouldn't have trauma. I wouldn't drink every night trying to forget. Silence Maria coldly. You've become selfish, just like your father. She hangs up. Thomas throws the phone, grabs a beer. Tears stream down his face. He whispers, fuck, I'm just like him. This is the most brutal reality. Children of narcissistic parents often terrify themselves seeing their parents' traits in themselves. Thomas drinks, isolates, explodes in anger. Does this mean he's a narcissist? No. But he carries unprocessed trauma. Without therapy and inner work, he risks passing this pain to the next generation. Jung called this the inheritance of the unconscious, transmission of unresolved conflicts from generation to generation. The body keeps the score. Trauma isn't just in memories, it's in the nervous system, reactions, relationships. Eva, 19, sits in a therapist's office, painfully thin, visible marks of self-harm on her forearms. The therapist speaks gently. Eva, you said your childhood was normal, but what you describe, that's not normal. Eva, defensive. Every family has problems. My dad just had a difficult temperament, but he loved us. Does a father who regularly humiliates his children, calls them failures, threatens to throw them out, does that father love? Eva cries. Mom always said he loved us, that we were ungrateful. Listen carefully. What you experienced is emotional abuse. Your mother, instead of protecting you, legitimized that abuse. You became responsible for your parents' emotions. But that means my parents didn't love me? It means they likely come from traumatic homes themselves. They never learned healthy love. But that does not mean it was your fault. It does not mean you don't deserve love. Eva breaks down, sobbing. The path to healing is long and painful. It requires confronting the truth that the parents you loved hurt you. That home was a battlefield, Alice Miller wrote. The whole truth about our childhood is stored in our body. We cannot erase it, but we can understand it and stop repeating it. Let me show you what decades of research reveal. The Adverse Childhood Experiences, ACE study, one of the largest investigations of childhood trauma, proved that adverse experiences directly correlate with depression and anxiety. 3 to 4 times higher rates. Substance abuse, 4 to 6 times higher. Suicide attempts, 12 times higher. Chronic physical illness, heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune disorders, early death, 20-year reduction in life expectancy. But it's not just mental health. Childhood trauma affects everything: career and education, lower educational attainment, chronic financial instability, underachievement, relative to potential relationships, higher divorce rates, difficulty forming intimate bonds, repeating abusive patterns, fear of vulnerability, physical health, chronic pain conditions, earlier onset of disease stress literally ages cells faster. The comparison at age 25, Jacob from healthy home, college graduate with good grades, beginning passionate career, stable relationship built on respect, strong friend network, optimistic about future, healthy relationship with parents. Thomas from traumatic home, barely graduated college, multiple jobs due to conflict with authority, can't maintain relationships, socially isolated cycles of depression and anxiety, substance abuse, no contact with parents at age 40. Sophie from healthy home, successful career, married with children, emotionally available parent, financially stable, contributes to community processes, difficulties healthily. Eva from traumatic home, multiple psychiatric hospitalizations, unstable work history, series of destructive relationships, chronic health issues, lives in survival mode, not growth, decades lost just trying to function. This is what childhood trauma does. It doesn't just hurt in the moment, it casts a shadow over an entire life. Here's the painful truth. Without conscious work, trauma repeats. Thomas swore he'd never be like his father, but he drinks, isolates, explodes in anger. These aren't character flaws, they're trauma responses. If he doesn't process them, if he has children one day, what will they experience? Not the same abuse necessarily, but emotional unavailability, unpredictability. The sense that they must manage dad's emotions. Ava, if she becomes a mother, might be overly anxious, hyperprotective, unable to let children develop autonomy, or she might unconsciously seek a partner similar to her father, because that's what love feels like to her traumatized psyche. Breaking this cycle requires acknowledging the trauma. My childhood was not normal and it hurt me. Grieving what was lost, the childhood deserved but never had. Processing emotions, the rage, grief, shame stored for decades. Challenging beliefs, I'm worthless, I have inherent worth. Learning new skills, emotional regulation, healthy communication, boundaries. Building safe relationships, learning to trust, to be vulnerable. This takes years, sometimes decades, and not everyone has access to good therapy. That's the injustice. Children like Thomas and Eva didn't choose their families, but they bear the consequences forever. Let me explain what happens in the brain. The developing brain is incredibly plastic. It shapes itself based on environment, In a safe environment, the prefrontal cortex develops properly. Emotional regulation, impulse control, empathy. But in a traumatic environment, the brain prioritizes survival over growth. The amygdala becomes hyperactive. The hippocampus shrinks. The prefrontal cortex is underdeveloped. Dr. Bruce Perry calls this adaptive but maladaptive. The child's brain adapts to survive abuse, but these same adaptations become dysfunctional. In normal life, MRI scans literally show structural differences in brains of people with childhood trauma versus those without. But here's hope. Neuroplasticity works both ways. With therapy, safe relationships, trauma-informed care, the brain can heal. It's not easy or quick, but it's possible. Clinical narcissism is a profound emptiness covered by grandiose false self. The narcissist has no stable sense of self, only a reflection dependent on external validation. This is why narcissistic parents see children not as separate individuals, but as extensions of themselves. Either sources of supply, my child's achievements prove I'm great, or targets for projected shame, my child's failures prove they're defective. The narcissistic parent cannot empathize, not won't, cannot. Their psychological structure doesn't allow it. When they drink, the mask comes off. Alcohol doesn't create abuse, it removes inhibitions. The contempt was always there. And here's the insidious part. Narcissistic parents are often charming to outsiders. Colleagues and friends see someone funny and charismatic. Only the family sees the monster. This creates cognitive dissonance in children. Everyone says dad is great, but you know the truth. You doubt your reality. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it is my fault. Gaslighting. Reality distortion. Psychological warfare. Maria is victim and perpetrator. She likely grew up in her own dysfunctional family, learning your job is to keep peace, manage others' emotions, sacrifice yourself. She married Christopher hoping to fix him, earn his love through devotion. But you cannot earn love from someone incapable of giving it. When children arrive, they become threats, taking Christopher's attention. Unconsciously, she competes with them for his approval. Protecting them would require confronting Christopher, risking the relationship, and Maria's entire identity is the good wife who holds the family together. So she sacrifices children at the altar of marriage. The tragedy? Maria genuinely believes she loves her children, but actions betray words. And children remember how you made them feel, not what you said. But healing is possible. Neuroplasticity is real. Trauma can be processed. New patterns can be learned. I've worked with countless people from homes like the Nowaks. I've seen them build healthy relationships, become emotionally present parents, find fulfilling careers, experience genuine joy, develop self-compassion. They carry scars. Certain things remain triggers, but they're not destined to repeat the cycle. Dr. Daniel Siegel found the biggest predictor of breaking intergenerational trauma is making sense of your story. People who process and understand their childhood, even if horrific, can parent with security. It's called earned secure attachment. You didn't get it in childhood, but you can earn it through conscious work. Peter Levine writes, trauma is a fact of life, but it doesn't have to be a life sentence. If you grew up like Jacob and Sophie, you won the lottery psychologically. Understand, not everyone had this. When people struggle with things that seem easy to you, trusting, believing in themselves, managing stress, it's not weakness, it's PTSD. Your colleague who can't handle criticism might have grown up where every mistake was catastrophic judgment. Your friend who pushes you away when close might have learned intimacy equals pain. Have compassion. Trauma isn't an excuse for harmful behavior, but it's an explanation. Understanding creates space for healing. If you grew up like Thomas and Eva, listen carefully. It was not your fault you were a child. Children are not responsible for their parents' actions, emotions, or choices. Period. You deserved better. You deserved safety, love, protection. The fact you didn't get it is the adult's failure, not a reflection of your worth. You are not damaged beyond repair. You are wounded, yes, but wounds can heal. You are not destined to become your parents. With awareness and work, you can break the cycle. You deserve love, not because of what you achieve or how perfect you are, but simply because you exist. Seeking therapy isn't weakness. It's the most courageous thing you can do. Going no contact with abusive parents isn't selfish. Sometimes it's survival. Your trauma responses kept you alive as a child. Thank them. But recognize you don't need them anymore. Healing isn't linear. There will be setbacks, bad days. It doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. We've journeyed through two families, two childhoods, two completely different foundations for life. The Kowalskis showed us what's possible when parents are conscious and emotionally healthy. Jacob and Sophie don't have perfect lives, but they have solid ground. When storms come, they have internal resources to weather them. The Nowaks showed us the devastation of narcissism, alcoholism, and codependency. Thomas and Eva had to fight for every bit of psychological health. Their lives were shaped by trauma they didn't choose and didn't deserve. This is reality for millions. Jung believed consciousness is the highest human achievement. Becoming aware of shadows, wounds, patterns, and choosing differently. That's my message. Awareness creates choice. If you had a healthy childhood, be grateful. Honor it by creating the same for the next generation. If you had a traumatic childhood, your past does not determine your future. With work, support, courage, you can heal. You can break the cycle. You can become the parent, partner, friend you needed but didn't have. As Carl Jung said, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. The choice is yours. Thank you for watching.